Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Drunken Dungeons. I think it's what, episode 8? JT, we've a nice one for the guys, don't we? We've a nice one for all the guys and girls out there. What are we covering this week? Month?
We do indeed. We are going to be going with Dungeon Model S1. It's Tomb of Horrors by Gary Gygax.
Savage.
It's an adventure for character levels of 10 to 14. So the Tomb of Horrors were written by Gary Gygax for the official D&D tournament play at the 1975 Origins 1 convention. He had originally got the idea from Alan Lucian, one of the original Advanced Dungeons & Dragons playtesters. He came up with the idea to sort of make the module for a couple of reasons, but it was for the more experienced players, so we could have a challenge. Or people who were like, bragging that their characters were pretty much invincible at medium levels. Two of such characters were players for Gary Gygax. Rob Kuntz, Kuntz,
Awesome name.
and Ernie Gygax. So that's a little bit of the history on it. And on a footnote, it was the inspiration for the book, Player One, which was turned into a movie.
Ooh. Yeah, the movie's not too bad. I haven't read the book. I'm actually going to have a read of it now after hearing that the Tomb of Horrors features heavily in it. So I just want to see how that player gets through it, because obviously he wins, so... I mean, that in itself is a spoiler. If you want to pass the Tomb of Horrors, guys, just read the fucking book.
Just read the book. Or watch the movie and realize that there's no cars in the book. You're fucked.
So yeah, so this module was brought out for a couple of the different editions of D&D. It was reprinted for 2nd edition, but it was in the Return to the Tomb of Horrors box set, which is extremely fucking expensive nowadays to try and pick up. It was given an own rewrite there for 3.5 in 2005. That came out around Halloween, and that was actually free, which is actually pretty cool. You're getting the Tomb of Horrors for free for 3.5. It was released for 4th edition, which in itself is a horror. I don't want to speak about it. It's just the worst fucking game ever. I'm not even going to tell you when that came out. And then it was reissued as part of Tales from the Yharnam Portal in 2017, 5th edition. We'll talk about the differences in between them later on.
Will we?
Yeah, I want to bring up one or two things because I'm quite disgusted with it.
Oh, okay.
I'm horrified.
Stay tuned for Ian's bitching classes.
Yeah, it's just me bitching. And when I get a beer into me, I'm going to bitch even more. Saying that now, JT, I'm going to open up a can of beer before we get stuck into any of this. I got a Funky Fluid, or this is by Funky Fluid. It's a gelato.
Funky Fluid, huh?
Yeah.
You might want to wipe that off before you start.
Gives a damp rag there. So this is a peanut butter and jelly ice cream sour. It's 5.2%. It's by Funky Fluid. I don't know anything about these guys. I love the can. It's awesome. It just stood out to me. It's from the same company that I had to drink last week with that mango, that lovely juicy stuff. And I'm hoping this is good. I know it's peanut butter and jelly.
It's peanut butter and jelly sour. You keep forgetting the sour.
Ice cream, JT. We don't talk about the sour at the end of it. We just... Oh yeah. Oh, this smell is really good. Oh, the smell of the jam off it, or the jelly. For all you American listeners, we call it jam, because jelly is something that you have in a hospital, or for your 5th birthday party,
or with ice cream,
or with ice cream.
Sunday.
Oh, this is a bit weird now. This smell. Yeah, it's very peanut buttery. I have to give that a few seconds now and just let it settle in, and kind of just pull my face back from being sucked into my mouth.
It's like okay. His bottom lip is trying to eat his eyebrows. Just for anybody who can't see him here,
All right, yeah, it's actually not bad. It's a little bit too much peanut in it for me. It's very peanutty. Peanut's kind of overpowering the jam a bit. If I had a bit of bread now, I might just dip it into it.
Bit Madeira sponge cake. Just plunk it in there. It'd be grand.
It's like drinking alcoholic Mars bars with lemon poured all over it. Without the chocolate.
Nothing worse than that, man.
Without the chocolate. Oh, all right.
It had so much potential, but it was a sour, so I'm delighted you don't like it. Ugh. Sours. Shocking creation of mankind.
Thanks, Jay. What are you drinking yourself?
Well, I'm drinking my go-to tropical IPA from Hopfully, which is I've covered them before in previous casts. It's actually a local brewery here in Waterford, and they do phenomenal pale ales and IPAs. This one is my go-to. It's Graciosa, and I love it. It's a
Oh yeah,
tropical
you've drank this
IPA, and
before,
you
yeah.
get yeah,
You've had this on the show
massive
before.
fruit notes off it. If it was in a certain movie where there was a certain kid walking around with lightning bolt on his forehead, who's not Percy Jackson, the spell for this can would be Wingardium Graciosa. I think it's pretty cool. I love this beer. Ian is sitting there trying to get all those movie references straight in his head now.
Yeah, I'm like, who? I have no idea. I'm lost. I'm just gonna drink more of this beer. Hopefully, it'll get my brain
It's
working.
not D&D talk. Ian doesn't know. Or sours by the looks of things. He's still making faces for anybody who's interested in it.
Thank God I
But
have
not as
no
much.
eyebrows. Thank God I have no eyebrows.
To be at the back of your neck at this stage.
Yes, I just swallowed them a long time ago. All right, Jay, let's get stuck into this. Murder hobo.
Yep.
It's like the opposite of a fucking group. This is, yeah, exactly. This is for a group of murder hobos. If you want to murder a group of murder hobos, this is the scenario to murder.
This is where you put them.
Those group of murder hobos. Jay, I have read so many comments. I put this up on Facebook that we were doing this. And I've read so many comments of both sides, 50-50 almost. Love the module. Yeah, it's a good module. Killed 20 characters. You know, it's amazing. And then I have people who, oh my God, absolutely fucking despise this. It's the biggest load of shit ever written. It's filth. It's fucking
Really?
dumpster fire. Oh my God, Jay, I don't know. I feel bad even repeating what these people are. It's hurting my soul.
No, you don't. You loved it. You found new insults to call people. Go away from it.
I couldn't stop laughing. The hatred people have for this scenario is fucking fantastic. And the love people have for it is fantastic as well. I just keep laughing at it. Like one guy said, his mates caught his gnome and just thrown him into. Just, yeah, you know where they thrown him. Oh man, I just couldn't stop laughing. I 100% best laugh I had now in the last month was just reading those comments. Absolutely raw.
Brilliant.
But let's touch on some of this. What makes it good and what makes it terrible. And how if you were running it for how if you were running it for certain types of groups, how could you deal with it as a DM like?
But for me, firstly, I would like to point out it does state this, and I have a copy of the 81 print here, and it does state in it that this is not suited for hack and slash, and it's for experienced players. And normally, as a player, when I'm playing these sort of games and I read that, I'm like, guess I have to prove this one wrong. Yeah. 5 pages in, I was like, I probably would have died about 8 times by now. It's all good. Yeah, at least it was fun.
It
There's
was
a
so
reason
hard to read.
Yeah, oh man, I found it a tough read. Like I really did. But there's a reason why in most games or most adventures or most modules, they will give you a list of like 6 characters.
Yeah.
But in this one, they give you a list of 20.
I
And
played
I
at
think
least 5
that's
of those
just
characters.
badge of honor moment. I played at least 5. Did you get to the end?
No. I'll tell you where I died later. I'll
Okay.
Yeah. I can almost remember my last one.
We touched on the subject about how we would play it as DMs in reference to if things should get certain saving throws later on. And I believe if you're going to run it from the book, the short answer is no, it is what it is and everything else. But like an awful lot of these modules, I would use them as a guideline. And always keep in mind that as much as you're a DM and love to see your PC body count go up every now and again, you'll have loads of opportunities to do that without taking away their sense of adventure of at least giving them a role. Now, there is a creature you're going to meet later on where there is no rolls, but you can always make them roll it. And even if they get a 19, just tell them they failed, just to make them feel better about making the roll. But I would give save and throws in some of these cases.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of
That's how I would be sort of thinking out.
yeah, there's a lot of the. I don't know if you'd call them traps because some of the stuff just aren't traps. They're just like things that are going to kill you. You know, I mean, if you you cast detect traps, it's not going to detect certain stuff. Like, that just you don't get a save and throw. But I feel like, from having a read of it and actually played with it, your characters should be experimenting enough with stuff and being careful enough and using their spells and their abilities and coming up with ingenious ways of bypassing and getting past these traps that you shouldn't need saving throws. Now, that's just coming from someone who died at least 5 times playing this, so...
Yeah.
But
and he played it from the side without saving throws. I think that needs to be stated here. Like, so...
I played it from the original rules, like, yeah.
Yeah, so I think giving him saving throws, he might have got through maybe 3 characters instead of 5,
Probably, yeah. I mean, in 5th edition, I definitely would have finished it with 1 character. 100%.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's say, like, I mean, if you have a bunch of people who are hack and slashers who are going to play this, do you think they're going to get enjoyment even if you were to put in, let's say, like, give, some of the pitfalls and some of the other bits, like extra save and throws? Or would you just bypass them and put a few extra monsters in here? I mean, there's 33 encounters, 33 rooms in here, like.
I would probably bypass the group for this adventure if there were hack and slash.
Just not give it to them.
I like a hack and slash or hack and slash. What you're looking for is a player who's going to think on their feet, think outside the box, use their abilities. Now, I know hack and slashers who can use their abilities and think outside the box.
Yeah.
But there's a different level of thinking outside the box at certain times in this adventure. Like, and I'm going to be honest with you, like, if I didn't read it, I definitely would have died. Like,
oh yeah, you're getting squashed. Like you're getting burnt alive. You're getting squashed again. Off the wall.
There's so many ways to play in this adventure.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
So a hack and slash, I'd be really cruel and go, no, I'd probably avoid it to the group, to be honest with you.
Do you know what?
Either that or just rework the entire thing.
Yeah,
and use this just as a base. Like,
I'd even ask the group, hey guys, do you want to play it? And with not with your characters that you're.
Yeah.
Do you want to play with these 20 throwaway characters? Like,
that's the way I would approach it.
Yeah, I was even thinking of it now. I'm like, I do a 5th edition game once a month with a bunch of noobs who can't even remember how to roll a d20. It's fantastic. They have no idea what they're up to. It's brilliant. And I was thinking to just chuck it in there, or maybe just asking them. But I don't think I could give it to them in 2nd edition because they're 5e heads. Do you know what I mean? It'd be too hard for them to kind of go over to 2nd edition, and 1 or 2 of them might start crying if I kill their characters. So it's sort of like, I'd love to play it. I'd love to run it for them, but then I'm like, do I?
Back in 2nd edition, your favorite character died. You're like, oh no, here's his brother who's exactly the same character and everything else.
Timmy, Tom, Joe 2.
Yeah.
He's 20 brothers, all ranging 1 inch above the other.
Yeah.
The only difference. No, as we're like kind of talking about, it depends on the group. And then again, it depends on the system that you're on as well, because there's multiple variations. But we're obviously talking about the 1st edition one here. I would ask the group if they wanted to run the original characters, or whether they want to play new ones. And I just run it for fun with them. Or you could use it as the conclusion of, like, hey guys, I'm never playing Dungeons and Dragons with you again. Okay? So I'm going to run. Run this. And don't even tell them what you're doing. Just run it.
I think
just don't say a word to them.
What you would do in a situation is you wouldn't tell them you're never playing it again. You would just slip this adventure in, and when the last character dies, stand up, close the book, and go, look, I had planned on never playing this again. Thank you for.
I think they'd never want to play it with you again anyway afterwards. So yeah, you're right. I don't think you'd have to say. I don't think you'd have to say anything.
Drop the microphone and leave.
So hey, let me give a quick synopsis of this because I don't think I actually Actually gave a quick synopsis of it, didn't I?
Mhm.
So
No.
basically, you're a bunch of adventurers somehow have ended up at a mound of a demi-lich. You've heard legends and you've heard tales of how this demi-lich, lives in this death mound shaped like a skull or whatever the hell it is. You can situate wherever you want. It's pretty much open to being put anywhere. And it's just a death dungeon. And your characters know this. Your characters learn this. Should be no surprise. So if you are setting up a bunch of characters, just give them as much information as possible. Just throw the information at them. Let them know their legend lore. Tell them that there's demi-lich in there. Let them know there's a bunch of fucking treasure in the place. Let them know countless people have died in there. Let them know what this is, and then see how they react. But anyway, that's kind of pretty much. There's no real kind of story behind this anyway. It's not like some of the other adventures that are full of intrigue and backstory. This is just Asarak, a demi-lich, just wants more souls, basically. He wants to live forever down in the bottom of his pit, doesn't want to be interrupted, and wants to consume souls that are, people who've been killed in this dungeon. And that's kind of one of the reasons why it has to be this bad. I mean, you're a demi-lich. Do you want people? Are you going to build an easy to pass trap system? Like, why is it so dangerous? And it has to be that dangerous. I don't think you could be saying, oh, there's a demi-lich in there, and then there's like 2 5-foot traps, pit traps, with a bunch of spikes in it, and that's all you're going to come across.
I think you're on point there with the traps and everything else. Like the fact that it's a demi-lich, like I think that should be a little warning flag there from already. Like I understand they're like 10th to 14th level, I get that, but I think a warning flag there should be the fact it's a demi-lich. Like so, they should be, if they gathered enough stories. And I think when you were saying how you would DM it, I do think provide them with a good bit of information of like, it's a fabled rune, and any adventurer who's gone up there has never returned, and lay it on heavy, to make sure there's plenty of warnings there for them to be prepared with certain types of spells and certain items and certain equipment. Like,
and tell them the S isn't for special; it's for serious. Like,
it's a serious one.
You should be running this as serious as possible. You should keep this. You should referee this, not tell don't tell a story. Just referee it. Give it to your character straight. Give it to the player straight. Like, give them information and let them make the decisions on it. If you start guiding them around stuff, then people are going to look like, oh, you're being led around the place. And I mean, look, there's only one way through this. It's a railroad, It's a railroad with fucking people standing at the side with hammers, mallets, and swords, whacking you as you're making your way along it, like, so.
And the DM on the far side of the screen slowly counting down from 10 every 30 seconds.
Pretty much. There's another one dead.
Yeah.
It starts off with trying to find the entrances to this place. Yeah, it takes a long time. I remember looking for the entrances into this place.
They're a theme to what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Within the tomb.
Yeah.
I
think it is. It kind of it shows pretty much really quickly how much attention you need to pay to stuff. If you're not paying attention and you're just sitting there, and actually, back in 75 and 78 when people were playing this, there was no mobile phones. You're fucked now. Like, you're not paying attention. You're on your fucking phone downloading fucking Flappy Bird or whatever the fuck they're downloading now. You're fucked.
I seen that movie. It's totally over 18s only. Yeah, I think the entrances do set the tone for what's going to happen to Hilaire. And I would be expecting to lose a character.
Yeah.
I seriously would be.
On the first one, yes, yeah, definitely. Unless at this stage, look, with the age of the scenario, someone in your group is going to possibly have played this 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Someone's going to have an idea, or someone's DM'd it. So yeah, maybe, for the newbies that are possibly in the group, maybe this person might say anything, but their character is going to survive.
Just be wary of the character casting detect magic before you go looking into entrances.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but you really need to be aware, and you need to be aware the whole way through this. You need to be on a constant watch. Like, there's none of the usual rhymes and fucking riddles that help your character pass an obstacle. They don't do that, okay? People who think that a riddle written on the wall of a demi-lich's lair is going to keep you alive if you solve it correctly, you were sniffing fucking fungus somewhere in one of the other entrances. You're delusional. It's there to kill you. Everything in this place is there. That the lich wants your soul. He wants you dead. The demi lich, he wants you dead. Like, everything is there to kill you. Don't trust anything. But yeah, it's just death after death after death, and I just love it. I love it because it's nice and simple. It makes you think. Like, a certain parts in this. Actually, Jay, do you wanna give me one of your rooms there? We can't obviously go through 33 of them, so we'll pick a few.
Yeah. Well, man, my favorite room is ultimately going to be 29. That is, without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite room in this entire thing.
Can you remind me now what room 29 was?
No, 27. I do apologize.
Oh my god, JT, you could have killed the character there.
Yeah, no, 27. Sorry, buddy. 27. So basically, in room 27, the only way you can get there is you're more or less teleported in there. Well, no, there is a doorway that you can come through, but mostly you're teleported in there into a chamber of hopelessness. Any creature unfortunate enough to be teleported into there from you, it's 25B you're in, and you get teleported to the chamber of hopelessness. Basically, you end up there naked, and the lovely Demi-Lich is happy enough to tell you loud and proud that basically you dared to violate his tomb, and now you're going to die slowly by starvation and hackles.
Yeah, I ended up in this room.
But yeah, but you do notice like there's a lovely bit of water there to keep you going for a bit. Like, now, if you are adventurous enough, you can leave through room 27. But as you go out, there's pretty much shields and swords and armors that fly off the wall and attack you. And if another creature comes over the threshold, they get stronger and stronger and stronger. So if you defeat one suit of armor and you run out to heal yourself up and come back in, the next suit you fight is going to be harder
Yeah,
and harder and
yeah.
harder.
It's shields and swords, isn't it? And they just, as you're saying, like, they
Yeah,
fly off the wall. So each
yeah,
time you
and
try
they
to go
attack
into the room.
first. So one sword will attack first at the start of every round, and one will attack at the end of the round. So, like, I just love the fact that you just appear there naked, and that's it. All your gear is gone. A big burly fighter with gauntlets of, like,
But surely, JT, this
overpowered.
is for a group of hack and slashers. This is perfect.
Yeah, until you're naked, literally naked, and you end up in a room with freaking nothing in there except a ton of trash stuff from people who've gone crazy. Like, and if you do root around, you do find a bit of stuff, but what's there? Like, you're going to be running around in your AC 10 minus decks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, these lads are fighting as a first level fighter, which, and fighting at a +1, so they're rolling on an 18 to hit 0. So they have a better than a 50-50 chance of hitting you, like.
Yeah, they do actually,
So,
don't they? They need if you're AC 10, yeah, they need like an 8 to hit you.
yeah.
Okay,
And the
yeah.
worst thing about it is, even if you do have an improvised weapon or a weapon, regardless of who you're trying to attack, the shield will always take the hit first, which means until you get rid of the shield, the two swords are going to be attacking at
Two
the
swords
start
are still there
and the end.
attacking, yeah. And
And you
you've
have no
got
healing potions. You have none. You're just like, I love that room.
well, yeah, you're basically at the mercy of your friends, and if they happen to survive to come in the other direction.
Yeah.
Actually, is it possible even to come in from the other direction?
Well, there is a doorway there in 25 to get into 27 that leads to 27A. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking there for a second it was like a one-way door or something, because that would be absolutely fucking mean if it was.
Holy. But I
But
just
it's
love that
both.
room.
It's both ways. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
And
no, I like that.
we had discussed this previously, and you had mentioned a room that you liked, and I came across it.
One of my nice favorite ones is it has the little sketch on it, and you can see people running down a slanty corridor. You've seen slanty corridors in a few things. Usually it's a boulder rolling down after them, but this one it's a fire pit at the end of it. I'm pausing there now because this is I really like the way the mechanics on this trap work, because there's no, hey, give me a roll, hey, save and throw, dex check, breath weapon save. There's none of it. It's basically left up to the DM describing this to you, and you have 10 seconds to cop on or you're dead. So this is a length of a corridor. It's the tilting fire room. It's room number 16. It's a length of a corridor. And once you pass like the third square from this door, the room starts to tilt downwards. And as the DM, you kind of say this to the characters. And then you're quietly counting to yourself. And if the players don't react in a certain amount of time, like depending on what count you're on to when the players tell you they're skedaddling out of there, depends on how far they're going to get to the door from the position that they're in. If they don't do it on time, basically the ground flips down and they're just, as it says, smoke. You know, you're fucked. You're burnt in the lava fiery pit at the end of it. And I really like that. I really like it because it's simple. It's like, guys, you feel the floor tilting in underneath you. 1, 2, well, you count a bit slower than that. And then people could be like, what? The floor? And that's how you would react. If you're standing on the floor and it's tilting, you're like, what? The floor is tilting. Yeah, the floor is tilting. It's tilted too much. You can't run anywhere now. You're slipping down the end of it and you're falling into a pit of fire. And I think those sort of mechanics break it down to like, you're not relying on a dice. You're relying on how many traps as a seasoned player you've dealt with before to say, I need to move now. So starting players aren't going to get that. And I honestly, like when I played that, and I think it could have been an immovable rod we were hanging from down at the end of it, down at the end of the corridor. You know, we were like, what? The floor is falling. Oh my God. Enough time to react, activate stuff. And we were just hanging there in midair as the floor was gone from underneath us. Like, I think it's a really cool way to do it. Now, this again, I looked at this in 5th edition, and this is what got me. So 5th edition deal with this, where it's like, on initiative 10, the floor falls away. Okay? And if you react before 10, obviously you get out there. If you react after initiative 10, the floor is falling and you're falling, and then you get a save and throw to get yourself out of there. Now, between 10 and 15th level, or 10 and 14th level in this, on 5th edition, the DC is 15. You're going, like, you know, basically it takes away the whole surprise of it. You know, to me, you kind of ruined that little bit of magic that's in the 1st edition one. You know, that reaction of, of just playing a character in a dungeon, not rolling dice. I think that the 2nd edition one has more of like, I'm in the dungeon, you know, me. And the 5th edition one is like, my character is there and he has some dice, so he'll get out of this. So that's one of the things that it just kind of lost the magic to me reading the 5th edition rules. But the 1st edition rules, this one of the best traps, in my opinion, in it.
Yeah, no, I like that one. I do. Another one of my favorite little things was in the false entrance in one of the false tunnels. So basically, when you go in here, like it just says like basically the daylight coming in will just dimly light the room, and the floor now has pavings, and it's like 50 distance within the passage. But you slight shift when the characters tread upon the surface, and they'll hear a rumble in the distance. So they're about 30 feet away from it at this stage. So basically, what's happening is the doorway is actually being sealed.
Yeah, had another character die
by
down.
a pretty chunky door, like, you know, and it gives you the spells. So basically, trapped characters can only move or by the following means. So it's either disintegrate phase door, stone to flesh, or transmute rock to mother or wish. But if they give notice that they're running for cover, because this place is just trembling down as well, like. So I think that's a pretty cool way. As I said, the entrances for me set the tone for the adventure, and
We're
I think
going
that
into
just
it,
lets
yeah.
everybody know what to look
Yeah.
for, you know.
Yeah. So if you lost a character or you got a character stuck in behind this, now you know how dangerous traps are. There's no role for them. You have to use the clues that are
No.
given to you and react to them quickly.
Yeah, and the best thing about it is, like, it does tell you on some of the traps that you're doing a slow 10 count.
It's a slow 10 count.
Like,
That's
there
like,
is a countdown,
it's 2
you know.
rounds,
So it's like
3 rounds or whatever.
1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
So they were saying like so 1.5 seconds per count,
Mm.
and you know that's if you reach 10 before any player has reacted, has no below, that's it. The pacifier gets sealed off. Like,
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, if you tell
so
your DM, oh, I'm going to have a look around behind me, he's going to tell you the thing, it's closing. And if you're still
yeah.
within that, you can get out, like, you know. But if you don't, I got stuck in there. I got a character stuck in there.
So we've seen 2 out of Ian's 5 deaths. Stay tuned for the other 3.
Hey, yeah, look, I could have went more than through. Yeah, look, the group I was with, there was just deaths everywhere. Not that I can remember most of them now, to be honest with you. For me, the second one anyway, my next one on this list is room 23. And I love the little drawing that's handed out with this from the big the big book of diagrams, the big book of illustrations that comes with it, which is pretty cool. And it's that strange fucking looking elephant on the wheels. This is one of the, I think this is my last death. This is the last death I remember in this place. I don't remember anything really much after this. I was probably just sitting there listening to the players playing after this. But basically, you open a double doors, and there's sleeping gas in behind it, and you're put out unconscious. You're unconscious for 2d8 turns, I think it is, or a number of turns. Within that time, this big elephant, this big steamroller, is basically just going to roll out the door at the end of the corridor, roll down the corridor, and squish you. Now, the rules are a bit weird on it, because it says it moves 10 to 60 feet, 1d6, on a 4 or on a 4 on a 1d4. Now, it's not 100% clear whether it's kind of like when it rolls a 4, it rolls out 1d6 squares and then it rolls back in, or does it continually keep moving till it reaches the end of the corridor each turn, rolling a d6 to see how far it goes. I mean, the corridor in itself is 70 feet, we'll say. I think it is. From the door where it comes out to the door that's at the end of the corridor where it tells you it goes to. But you're going to be like, you're on square 50, basically. So there is a 5 and 6 on a d6, like, of you getting squished. So I would imagine that this thing, you roll a d4, it rolls out the door, you roll a d6, see how far it goes, and at the end of that, then it turns back. And then the next round, I think that's probably me playing it a little bit light. If I was in a seriously vicious mood, I would just roll a d4. If I got a 4, it's going out that door, it's moving d6, and then the next round it's moving d6, and it's moving till it gets to the end of the corridor, and then it's rolling back. I think there's kind of 2 ways that a DM could kind of play that, and I think it's kind of deliberately left open in a sense where you're sort of like, oh, which one am I going to do as a DM? Like, am I going to be fair? Because there's no save and throw for the gas, the sleeping gas. And I can't even remember, are elves immune to sleep in first edition?
Yeah. I think they are, yeah.
Because this says everybody falls asleep. So even if there's like immunities, it's like everybody falls asleep. So that's another cool one, just getting squished, just getting rolled over by an elephant. But that's one of the more like
just casually.
Yeah, that's just one of the traps that's there. That's like, there's no save and throw for going to sleep, and you're getting squished. That's a vicious one. That for me is like at the top of like what I personally wouldn't do playing a monthly game or weekly game. I'm not going to put something like that into it, but it's in this and it's there for the scenario, There has to be stuff
Um,
of that consequence, I think, in it.
I think for my last room, like, don't get me wrong, I wanted to do the huge pit-filled with 200 spikes room. It's pretty cool. Then we had a discussion the other night about the tapestry,
Oh yeah.
and that's pretty fucking, like, that's pretty fucking mean. But I think the meanest thing is there's a certain room where you find like a crown and a scepter, and they look pretty fancy. So you pocket them, and then you go off, and you get through the entire thing. You kill the demi-lich, you get out with him, and then you realize that, yeah, you're going to be hunted by demons because you have this shit. So even after you get out of here, like, with the treasure, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that's so cruel, like, because
But
you're done, you're dusted, you're all happy with yourself. You killed the demi-lich, you're off celebrating, you're happy enough sleeping at your camp at night, and all of a sudden demons start popping up trying to kill you because you have it. So
well, it's vicious enough because if you put that crown on you in here, there's only one way to remove it. Like,
yeah.
that's another vicious thing that's about that as well. Like, and I've seen people doing it. My character witnessed someone's death through that.
So yeah, that'd be my last pick. And there's maybe another one or two noble mentions that I haven't touched on, but yeah, that it's just purely because, like, let's be honest, if you're an adventurer, even if you're like semi-seasoned, and you find something like that, you're going to throw it in a bag and go, we're going to get that identified later.
Yeah.
And you're probably like, a couple of days travel away from the nearest town where you can rest up, and all of a sudden you're getting hit by demons and you're wondering why. And you're thinking, oh, it's the next adventure. We have to go off and kill demons. But it's not. It's games you have, like,
Yeah. And you're trying to figure out why are these guys after you. But,
yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's fairly nice. Even as if you do survive, or even if you do decide to leave with this and not continue on, because that's one of the things as well. You don't have to finish this. Your characters can just say, okay,
Yeah.
we've gotten enough treasure and I survived. You know what? I want to leave here with this treasure and get the XP for it and just be gone.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing is, you can do this one room at a time if you wanted to. You can go in, do one room, leave, rest up, get your spells ready for the next room, go in and investigate the next room. What spells do I need for this? What do I need for that? How do we come up with a plan to get past this? And go out. Now, I don't think I could personally do that because it'd be a waste. Fucking me, it'd be too long for me. But if you did want to survive this, you have to play the long game, I think, on it.
Yeah.
My last one, anyway, is The Last Encounter. Because it's actually before you even do the last encounter. So you find yourself in a small little hidden room, and in the ground you notice a small little hole. My character was here for people's deaths for this, so even though my last character, I was alive for this part, because I remember watching people as they fiddled around with the keys in this thing, and then what it states is, you got to twist your key in at a certain amount of times, and then you feel the floor little rumble, and then it describes how the floor moves to you, and you see how that floor moves. And then it's another one where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and if nobody does anything, you get squished to the fucking ceiling. Now, I was thinking about this, with the pitfalls and things rising up, is like, how does your body react to it? Like, I mean, I was in an elevator a few weeks ago where it dropped half a floor and I fucking shit myself, but I didn't realise it fell till it stopped. So there's a thing about that with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, where you have to describe a little bit, and then stuff happens that your body's just not used to, and you can't describe it. So again, if you don't move within the 5 seconds, your characters are in the wall. Your characters are like this fucking drink here. Peanut butter and jelly smeared all over the ceiling. Gooing out. So as the players outside,
you know the one thing about it, the player getting squished would probably taste nicer than that sour, to be honest.
Fuck man, definitely 100%.
Yeah, That's how I feel about it.
Just poo and blood just dripping down in front of everyone who's on the outside of the vaults.
Be grand.
Peanut butter and
Be
jelly.
grand.
So the treasure's sitting there in front of you. Whether you pick it up or not, then is, I suppose, up to yourselves, up to your characters, and how you deal with that.
Yeah.
But is it?
And I think it's important to say, I'm going to be very open with you. I mean, I had a look at the rewards for this. Like you're given 20 characters. Now there's a load of there's a ton of money to be had throughout it. But when you get to the end of it and you're 14th level, and you walk in and there's just
yeah, after the
because
amount,
literally that's it.
After the amount of people who died in here, the amount of treasure that should be in here, it's...
No, it does say all items from characters teleported nude, and when you appear in that room, it's full of skeletons. So I think there should be a little bit of leeway here for DM.
I think a DM should
add,
yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Now I'm not saying add in hundreds of items. Well, I probably would, but I'd be the sort of cunt that would throw in
a genie's lamp,
robe of useful items, a deck of many things, like shitty things, like all the miscellaneous items that, like at 14th level, you have absolutely no need for. But because you cast detect magic, I want to see what's magical.
10
and you
plus
cast
one
detect magic, and the entire room glows. Yeah, like the entire room just glows, which you're going to be like, oh man, we're going to have to sort through this. And there's like happy days. And they're pulling out and I think when it says all the items, you could realistically have a heap of +1 swords, just sitting there, and make some of them really ornate and fancy, so they look cool, and lads would be like, oh, I want that one. And then it's just +1, But I'd be really cruel and add in a ton of useless stuff as well,
a few cursed items as well,
Oh yeah, definitely.
But what I want to know, JT, is there more treasure in this room than there is arrows in the keep
compared to the last one? I've done a quick calculation, and you do get enough treasure in here to buy the arrows off the guy from the keep in the last one.
Okay.
So you're onto something here. Now, saying that, if you had just finished the last session we played, and you leveled up a bit, but still had all those arrows, you could put them to use going around here.
I think, yes, definitely. They'd definitely pay for themselves.
Yeah. You're walking out smiling going, I told you that bag of holding of arrows would come in handy someday. But yeah, I was a bit underwhelmed by... Now, once again, I'm a hack and slash and I love treasure.
Yeah, but look, it's deservable at this point.
Well, if you were to get pretty much everything previously as money-wise, then yes, I would agree. But if you didn't, then I'd be like, because you're looking at 6 random rolls, 3 on a miscellaneous table, 1 ring, 1 rod, 1 staff, and then 3 miscellaneous random rolls plus a sword, 2 other swords, and a spear.
Yeah.
And I think when people see the gems, they're going to be like, ooh, yeah, I want these. But because we've read the scenario, we know what they're going to be used for. Because we have knowledge prior to that.
Yeah. For swallowing and having a hard poo.
Yeah, that's it, yes. Swallowing for food, yes. But yeah, I mean, it's a case where I just read it and I was just like, yeah. So all the items from characters teleported nude, and that room was fairly full.
Yeah.
So you could get a little bit of liberty there with tailoring it to the people who have made it this far, if needs be.
Yeah, but I would have probably just rolled up stuff for everybody beforehand. Everyone that's going into it beforehand and had it there instead of being rolling a few random stuff at the end of it, kind of thing. Well, I suppose, look, if you're playing this, you're going to have 2 or 3 months of playing before.
Yeah. You'll have an idea who survived. Save you a bit of time. Wait till near the end and roll them up.
Yeah. True. Yeah, but it's a nice little payoff at the end of it. It's nice to have that that fight at the end of it. If you survive.
the last fight, man.
Yes, I'm remembering, like, we had all previously died, but I think our DM just let us have a couple of characters to finish this off. Because we were like 13 or something, I think, when we were playing this, 13, 14 when we were playing this. So it was sort of like, okay, guys, look, the characters are all gone, but if you want to keep continuing on with it, just get some of the characters and, you know, continue on, sort of thing. Like,
yeah.
As far as I can remember, or we just asked him, could we get into the end of it or something to that effect. I know we didn't deserve to get there. But we were like, we're never fucking playing this game again.
Like, when you read down, so let's just say you get to the big bad.
Yeah.
And you realize that there's certain specific things that certain characters need to even remotely damage them.
I
Like,
think
they're very specific.
I think that, again, is from the very start of it, or even as you're progressing through this, taking your rests, is legend lore. You know, it's your legend lore and your research and whatnot. That should be looked out for in that. Like, so if you're forgetting to do it, I think you can't really blame a DM for that. Like, you know, now you could blame a DM if he's not giving you that information after you've cast 10.
Yeah.
If you've asked the questions during your legend lore and the DM hasn't given you that information, then you can blame the DM. Like, but if you haven't if you haven't done a research on it, it's like researching how to kill vampires. You do your research, you get your wooden stakes, although everybody knows about it. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you should be researching the stuff. What's a demi-lich? You know, it turns up in a legend lore. So what is one? How do we defeat it? How do we get past?
How do we defeat it?
It's one of the things you should be.
But I think they're very specific. So, like, you know, I read down to them and I was like, fuck.
It's the first time a demi-lich turned up anyway, as far as I remember.
Yeah,
it's the first time. And then people were saying that there's an homage to it in like B2 or something like that, one of the other scenarios, one of the other modules, which I'm going to have a look for and see the difference in it. Because the 5th edition creature for this, it doesn't compare to it. It's more frightful in a 1st edition than it is in 5th. It's more dangerous. You know, it's a lot more foreboding. Just the fear and the terror is there, where it's gone in 5th edition.
Yeah.
You know, there's none of that. There's none of that whatsoever in it. So I don't think I'd run this. I don't think I'd run this in any other editions. I think if I was to run it for somebody, it would have to be in 2nd edition. Definitely. And the way it's written. Okay, right, yeah, let's have our last beers here then, and we'll come to a conclusion.
Excusez-moi, Mr. Hickey.
What do you...
It is the last beers for the cast. Doesn't mean it's my last beer. Don't be saying that now. People will get the wrong impression that I only drink when we're doing the podcast.
I don't know how we would ever give someone that impression. What are you drinking, bud?
Believe it or not, man, I'm going to my second favorite.
Guinness.
No. So once again, it's from Hopfully. And I'm sorry that, you know, they're local and it's fresh. So when I get it fresh, I just trash it.
Yeah.
But this one is Shinebright. It's an IPA. And man, it's a really simple recipe with Citra and Comma. But they work the hops so well in this. Like, I mean, the hops, they must have just bet the pulp out of them. It's unbelievable. And I absolutely smash it.
Giving them a good rub.
Yeah, giving them a massage. And wet and raw, nice and juicy, and then just punch the face off and de-juicing.
Get into that.
But it's just an amazing IPA. I love it. But that's my if I go into a pub and it's on tap, I'll stay on that all night. And normally I like swapping my beers out, as you know. Every pint I'll try something different. I have no problem with that. But if that's on tap, I stay on it all night. It's a solid drink. The one thing I will never, ever, ever depart from.
Bud Light.
Jemmies. You have to have your jemmies. So Ian likes to review beers and things like that, and I'm okay with Ian, and we stick to our 2 beers per podcast, and I have no problem with that either. But nowhere in the script that he never said that I couldn't enjoy 1 or 2 whiskeys on the quiet.
Hey, you can have 3 or 4 beers if you want. Just remember the first couple episodes, the hangovers in the morning.
I didn't have a hangover, man.
dude.
I just couldn't remember doing the episodes.
True, yeah. Half hammered by the end of it. I am drinking one by These Spanish words and my Irish tongue don't go together. Le Calavera. You think that sounds really easy to pronounce, doesn't it? It's a pale ale, gluten free. It's called Walking COELIACS. Yes, guys, I'll put this up in the notes and you can read it yourself. It's 5.5%. I don't know anything about the brewery. I don't have any stories about them. Probably should. It's a bit cloudy, very hoppy, but a bit thin or smelling. So we'll have a taste. But 5.5, it should be grand. Oh yeah. Oh, this is nice. It's kind of sweet. Or maybe that's just the PBJ still in the back of me now.
Probably the PBJ, man. You need to take a good mouth with that now and rinse it out like mouthwash. Get rid of the taste of sour out of you.
Hold on there now. Ah, yeah. That's actually quite enjoyable. I'd have one or two of these now, no problem. I don't think I'd stay in them all night. Like, I'd end up in a fucking mess. Because I would pour them into me pretty quickly, especially with the heat here when it gets into the summer. They'd be too nice now sitting out in the sun. Oh, it's a good one. I do recommend having a glass of that at some stage if you can. Jay, let's finish up on this adventure. I give this a 10 out of 10 for being a sadistic module.
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because anybody who knows me knows I love me Dungeon Crawls by Gary Gygax.
Yeah, it's a nice, lovely dungeon crawl.
And as much as this is nasty, there is one or two others out there that are, my God. So based off of what I know off of the other adventures, I'm going to give this a 9, to be honest with you, for being an absolute nasty. I'm going to kill everybody who comes in here and laugh at them.
I think it's so. Yeah, it's going to kill everybody if you're fuck acting, you know. Definitely not for people in their early teens to be playing.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. Sometimes I've played with younger players and they're way more
their brain is fresher
than me now, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Up with more
I mean,
ideas.
for me, it's a case of like I don't look for the I don't look for the obvious.
Yeah.
You know.
I think this is a very freeing adventure in the fact that it doesn't stay as I was saying earlier on to like the save and throws, the dex checks. You're not relying on dice. It makes you think more. You know, it frees you up from it. I think more traps should be like this. More traps should be run like this. Like
the count system in this.
Yeah,
for certain traps, I do. I think going forward, I mean, I probably would implement that in certain traps.
Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt.
I wouldn't do it constantly because people will get used to it, and as soon as you mention rumbling, everyone's like, "I'm jumping back."
Yeah,
it gets. You're not going to catch people on it for one or two every now and again. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
the artwork in this is pretty solid. Cover's cool. Straight away from that cover, you're sort of like, what the fuck? But that's a lich, though. That ain't no demi-lich.
Okay. So just on the art, okay?
Yeah.
There is a certain room where you meet a certain thing. And I know all rooms you meet a certain thing, but this thing is sort of good. And if you help this person out...
Oh, yeah, I know.
They're going to stick to you like shit to a blanket.
Yeah.
Take a look at that picture and tell me you would sense goodness from that picture. But, like, if you were to show me that picture and say, you walk into this room, you see that creature, I'm like, evil motherfucker, meet my sword.
I'd be looking for a tail and horns. Actually, no, I probably would just attack it. I can't remember. I remember we had that encounter. I can't remember how we dealt with it.
I've gone into every room, like I've read every room. If I was an adventurer, I'd be sort of like, every room I've gone into, everything is trying to kill me. You're going to die. I'm sorry. That does not portray I'm good. Don't try and kill me. That's the only thing I have to say about the drones. Everything else, I like. I mean, a little bit of history about me and Ian. When we were playing with a certain DM, the DM would always print off one or two pictures from the adventure, and Ian would color it in And by the time we were more or less all wrapped up, the DM had his entire screen covered with pictures that Ian had colored in from
Did I
various
actually?
adventures.
I was too fucking stoned to realize I was coloring in
Yeah.
on something.
He was stoned from legal medication because he has an illness.
Mental illness. Dungeons and
So,
Dragons illness. D&D I have, isn't it? AD&D.
yeah, AD&D.
Yeah,
I have
definitely
AD&D. But I had a good look through this book, and I was sort of trying to think, right, if I was that DM, and I had to pick one picture, like, for you to paint and or draw or color in
Give me
and
crayons.
go up on my screen. Yeah, crayons. The only one I came across that I would sort of entertain would be number 10. I think was the best piece of art in this, in my opinion.
Let me just have a look here. That's handout number 10, isn't it? Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, I remember this room. This is the Egyptian style room with all the spheres of different colors that we didn't talk about. Guys, wait till you get into this room. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to love it. You're going to love this
Yeah.
room. All these little handouts are brilliant. I think more adventures should have this sort of stuff. Little handouts for players as they go into stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Especially going into dungeons. You need this for sort of thing
You
for
need a
dungeons.
little bit.
Yeah.
I think we should explain for the new listeners. So Ian is a big fan of getting the scenarios on PDF, and I'm sure he can drop where he gets them.
Oh yeah, DriveThruRPG. I'll put the link up for this. I'll put an affiliate link up for this, guys. It's a little bit more expensive now this week on it when I was checking prices on it. It's like 6 something for this. So maybe wait till it goes on sale. But like click our affiliate link and use that, definitely. But wait till it goes on sale. They're always on sale. You'll pick it up for like £4 or 2 something or whatever, you know, so. But yeah, and then the print on demand with the PDF is €15, 14 something. I think that's kind of worth it, you know, to have the PDF and to have the handout, or actually to have a copy of it itself, like, if you're going to run this. Definitely. PDF is a little bit tedious, guys, because you're scrolling back and forward. When me and JT decided that we were doing this, I had messaged JT twice saying over 2 or 3 days, I seriously, I can't focus. I'm on room 10, room 6, whatever, and I'm having a really hard time reading this. Because you're scrolling, but you read one room, I'm scrolling to the end of the fucking document to look at the map, and I'm going back, and on the forward, and then I'm trying to remember. I'm like, oh, mother of God. And I just got up and walked away. I just turned it off at certain stages. So it's nice to have it. Or maybe, look, just open up the document and have a map on a separate side of the screen or something for yourself, or print it off for yourself so you can look at it while you're looking at the PDF. Makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
It'll be easier to understand as well as you're reading down through stuff. You're not reading the adventure 2 or 3 times over then. And you can start making calls on what you need to prepare and all that then on it.
So for me, I actually prefer to have the adventures, as in like the actual ones that were printed, like so back in '81 and things like that. So I had the same trouble with Ian when I was going through some of the rooms. Now I have to be very, very vocal on this. I am not saying I am smart by any means. I would say I'm funny, but not smart when I tell that to everybody. But I found it really helped where I was just discussing it with Ian when we were going through the scenario. What I actually done was when you buy the scenarios, anybody who has a few of them will know that your cover is actually a sleeve that separates from your actual adventure. And what I done was I had the map on one side and I was able to read down through the adventure and follow the rooms. Because I found it very awkward because in one section, like you go from room 3 to a 4 to an 8 to a 9 to like 10, and then 12's are doorways, then 11 is a tunnel, and you're reading it out and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
You go
that's
10
one
to
thing that killed me.
14.
Yeah.
And like I just lost track of it after that. I really did. And then you get into room 25 and you have 25 A, B, C, and then D. And then 27 is in 25.
Yeah.
So like, and 29 is like a little yoke going into 30. And I was like, what the bug am I missing here? Like that, I'm losing the plot myself.
Yeah.
But when I opened up the map and I was able to see it, it was like, right. So
Yeah.
1 is an entrance, 2 is an entrance, 3 is the main entrance, 4 is this. Where's 5? And then I finally found 5 and then 6, and it's not complete rooms. Some of the numbers aren't complete rooms.
No,
and because
yeah.
we're so used to seeing a massive dungeon with each number to room,
Yeah.
it really confused me.
For layout and trying to understand it without map, it's difficult. I'm going to give it like out of 10, maybe a 4 or 5. It's like if you have the map in front of you, it's grand, but if you're trying to read it without a map, oh fuck me, like just you're not going to understand anything. Layout is a little bit difficult on it.
I'd probably be the same. I'd probably go with a 4 or a 5 out of 10. Without a map, with a map, you're probably going up to like
Yeah, you have the
7
map
or
in
9.
front. Yeah,
You're fine.
You're still going to be searching for stuff. Yeah, you're still going to be searching for stuff.
Survivability.
Oh, 100 out of 100, yeah. It's no way I'm dying in this dungeon.
For the 6th time.
I'm not going fucking back in there. I'm going to stay outside. I'm going to live a long and happy life. Me and my 7 dwarves. What would you give it, Jay? What are your chances? Okay, so, you got 10 characters. How many of those characters are dying?
First of all, I know for a fact we have 20. So my first question is why you only giving me 10?
Because
we both know my game style. And we both know that I would go through all 20 of them within the first fucking 20 rooms.
There's 5 other people in the group, Jay. Don't be selfish.
I'm being selfish here, man. This is a standalone with my 20 characters.
Me and my 20 characters.
I wouldn't have made it to the end, man. I'm being honest with you. I don't think I would have. Yeah.
I know I didn't. It's just the DM just let us have it. Like, it was just like, all right, guys, just keep playing through. I think he just wanted to see how we done. It was fun anyway, but there was a lot of deaths. I had great fun playing this game, playing this module. I don't see why so many people are upset. I don't see why so many people are butthurt and upset, crying 40 years down the line.
After reading this, I'm sort of like
victimized and traumatized, Jay. That's why.
I totally get it. I do. I totally get it.
I suppose you see, I was new. I didn't know what to expect from it. So, I mean, if I had invested in the character and he died in this, I'd probably smack my DM.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't sort of be recommending you run this for, like, as we've talked about, the experience level, the sort of group you should be doing it with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, man, it's vicious. It's absolutely vicious. The more I think about it, the more I'm sort of saying, like, thinking to myself, I understand you gave out 20 characters, but I don't think that's enough for me. With my gameplay, it's like,
hey, but
let's go beat this shit out of that.
Characters between 10th to 4th level also have henchmen, okay? Remember that.
True.
Now, I just want to touch on some stuff as well before we wrap this up, because we're an hour and 20 minutes now at this stage. Look, there's a lot of things going into this that you're probably forgetting that your characters have or can do. Henchmen, summon creatures, levitate spells, find traps, legend lore, raising dead characters back. These are all the things that I've read in the comments of how people had, what people have done to get through this. Creativity, I think, is the key to this.
Yeah.
Definitely, and just having a fun. And I think it kind of goes two ways. The more of an experienced player you are at, the more things need to be kind of changed. So this is why this is so different than previous stuff, and you're relying on imagination more than roles. And as a new player, not knowing the rules allows you to be a lot more freer with what you get up to and asking questions and doing stuff.
Yeah,
and I think this scenario definitely promotes some of this. Unless you're dead, then
yeah, I think it definitely promotes outside the box thinking with the traps. I really do. And even some of them, like, I mean, in room 3, like, if you're an experienced player, you're going to have a pole. Like, I don't think there's an adventuring group out there that hasn't used the pole.
Oh yeah, I'm part of the 10-foot pole club.
Yeah, like, I mean, you have to, like, so useful. So many things, or a dead companion. I mean, as long as you have the strength to throw him, I mean, throw him in an area. Simple as. If there's a trap there, it's not like he can die again.
No,
You know?
exactly. Use what you got to hand. Use what you got to hand.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we should call it at that, yeah. We've I think we've kind of covered everything. We could go more depth into the rooms like we done with Paladin in Hell, but I'm not ready to do another 2
No,
season,
that started
episodes of this.
turning me
I
off
think
a little bit.
I know, I enjoyed that.
But
I think it got us into it.
I think you should announce the next one we're doing.
Okay, so we're going to continue on with the serious modules here, guys, okay? We're going to do White Plume Mountain, the most serious module of all, next. Like, if you think this is a serious module, White Plume Mountain is the serious of serious.
I think the S is for special.
Yeah, definitely with this one, it's definitely for fucking special.
Yeah, not serious.
I love White Plume Mountain. I absolutely love it. It's like fucking wacky out. It's fucking brilliant. And then after that, then we're going to move on to S3, Expedition to Barrier Peaks, which is another brilliant module. Played that as well. Played that twice. One in original rules, where I think my character had a fear of scrolls and was a wizard, and died tragically, getting beat to death by an iron pole from an iron golem. And the second one, where I'll keep that for the story. I won't go too much into it. Anyway, and then the what's S4 JT? I can't even pronounce this word.
Let me have a look at the back of this module.
I know there's a T and a C and a J in it. Tijuca?
No, that's not S4.
What?
It only goes up to S1, 2, and 3 on this one. Back in 81.
What? They hadn't printed it by then. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, let me pause it and figure out what the spelling is.
Timochan.
Spell that again.
Timochan.
No, it's spelled Tsojcan. Can't pronounce this. Toshkent. The Lost Caverns of Toshkent. I don't remember playing that. I'd have to read the adventure, so we'll get to that when we do. Yeah, I'm looking forward to them. All right, guys, so check us out on all the amazing platforms that are out there for the multimedia usage. We're on everything now. We're even have ads in the newspaper. Total lie. And you might find a few stickers and phone boxes with our names on them, but that's not
That's Ian's number, not mine. Just in case you're wondering.
Guys, have a good one.
Just in case you're wondering, it's definitely Ian's number. He's the pretty one, the adventurous sort of guy.
No way. I'm the introvert. I like to lock myself away and write Dungeons and Dragons modules. Yeah, guys, get in contact with us if you want to drop us a down message on anything. Wherever you find us.
Also, there is comment sections on an awful lot of things we post. So if there's something we missed or something that a room you liked or where you died and you have a funny story, don't be afraid to add it. We give it a shout out.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll bring it up on next week's episode. Next 2 weeks' episodes. Whenever we release the next one, we'll get it in there. Guys, good night. Have a good one. And
be safe.
We'll see you on the next episode of Drunken Dungeons.